Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing well. So it's been a while since I've made a video, but I am going to go ahead and do my 3-month follow-up after my bariatric surgery. So today is actually the 4th of November, so it's a few days shy of my 3 months, but I want to go ahead and do my update now. So first, let's go ahead and talk stats. I'll go ahead and add a little video up here on the side of my 3D rendering that I use the Me 360 app for, that kind of shows the changes in your measurements and kind of gives you like a visual of like the full changes in your body, which I find very, very helpful because, you know, it's a little bit harder to see the changes that are happening with yourself because you see yourself every day. But sometimes you can see it in pictures, but I find that this 3D rendering that it does after, like, you actually stand in front of the camera and it measures you and it gives you like this 3D rendering of what your body looks like and the changes. So when I'm able to look through this, the changes are a lot more visible and I find it extremely helpful. So let's start from the beginning. I think my highest weight was probably about 300 pounds. At the time of starting this process for the surgery, I was 288. And now, as of today, about the 3-month mark, I am 240. So I'm about 2 pounds or 3 pounds shy of being at a 50-pound weight loss in 3 months, which I think is doing pretty well. I'm very happy with that. Any faster would probably have caused some health problems, but things are going pretty well. This is just with me. You know, I'm not doing anything at the gym. I'm just doing some strength training at home, some stretching at home, as well as about 4 to 5 15 to 30 minute walks per day, and, you know, just listening to what this new stomach wants and how much I can and can't eat. So one thing I will say that has been the adjustment still is recognizing exactly when I need to take my last bite, because it can go from feeling totally fine to overly full in the matter of one bite. So I'm working really hard right now trying to figure out exactly like what some of the other signs are before I get that full filling. I do get a full filling, but it's not, the full filling happens when I'm basically almost when I'm overly full. So what I'm starting to learn is that the moment I can even feel that there is food in my stomach, that's when I need to stop eating. So most of the time what it ends up feeling like for me is that food just slides right through, because with the type of surgery that I had, I no longer have like the closure muscle, the sphincter muscle between my stomach and my intestines. That part has been bypassed and is still on the side of my stomach that they keep in, that helps create gastric juices, but is no longer the part that food goes into. That sphincter muscle is on that side. But the side where my sleeve is that leads to the gastric bypass for the mini bypass that I got, it doesn't have that sphincter muscle. So food tends to just slide through, but it still can only go through so fast and my intestines can only process it so fast. So the first few bites, you know, the first like 2 to 3 ounces, I don't feel anything in my stomach. But then eventually somewhere close to the 4 to 5 ounce mark is where I'll just start to be aware of food taking up space in my stomach. And I've learned that like, that's where I need to stop, because if I go a bite or two past that, that is where I start to experience, I haven't experienced, like, at least I don't think I've experienced any dumping syndrome yet, but I have like had severe nausea from overeating. And I've also, I think one of the things that tends to affect me the most is like the foamies, what they call it, but it's basically just like, I can't even fit saliva in my stomach anymore at that point if I let myself get full. So saliva just starts coming up, kind of just like foamy saliva starts coming up, and you kind of just salivate, and sometimes it leads into food coming up. But strangely enough, I still haven't had any experiences of like what you would actually call vomiting. I haven't had any retching or anything like that. If food comes up, it kind of just slips up, and maybe that's part of the fact that I don't have that sphincter muscle anymore. But you know, if I feel nauseous and I'm getting the foamies and I lean over towards the sink or something like that, if there's food that is not going to be able to go down, it will just slide back up and come out with the foaminess, with no effort. So it's better than retching, but it's still not a pleasant experience. It's an interesting thing that like food can move through so fast. However, if I take that 1 or 2 bites too many, you would think that like if I just sat still or took some deep breaths, eventually that food would make its way down. But it's like, my body's like, nope, the food was stopping somewhere and there's no room for that food to go down. So if I overeat like that, the food cannot make its way back out, or at least I can't even like process any more saliva or anything like that. So it's not been fun, and I'm so happy I didn't use the Zofran at all in the beginning of my bariatric journey. Like right after the surgery, I didn't have any nausea when I was just on liquids and then purees, no nausea. So I still have like half a box of my Zofran left, the dissolvable one, and I still have a refill that I can fill that I'm sure I'll need, because whenever I make that mistake of just eating a little bit too much, most of the time I need that Zofran just to calm down the nausea. So that is something that I have realized, that now that I'm eating regular foods now, and I'm not like in any stage anymore, I'm more likely to get nausea from a bite or two too much, or just eating something that my body doesn't agree with. Another note, like, it's very strange, but like there are so many foods that taste so different to me now. And I've heard a lot of people say this when they're sharing their bariatric journey, but a lot of foods that I really, really enjoy, they just taste like meh, you know, just average, just like anything. Things that I loved don't really taste like much, or things that I really enjoyed, I do not like the taste of anymore. There's not as many things that I enjoyed that I just don't like anymore, but there's a lot of things that I enjoy that don't taste the same to me, so I don't even care to purchase them anymore. And that wasn't a fun thing to go through, but I just have to keep getting myself to try new things, and I will find new things that, it's just the oddest thing that like your taste buds are changing because your stomach changed. So some things just barely taste like anything. They don't really taste like much. And then some things are way too flavorful. So like I'm someone who always enjoyed like breakfast bowls. So like you can get the breakfast bowls that you buy frozen that have like the eggs and sausage, or eggs and potatoes and cheese. Like there's vegetarian ones. There's like, vegetarian ones that have like vegetarian meat in them. And then there's just the regular ones. And so I used to enjoy having those in the freezer for days where I wanted a good breakfast but did not have the time or energy to eat a good breakfast. And those, for some reason, like I'm having two different responses. Either one, I'm getting the one that I loved, the one that was my favorite one that I could, like I would even have for lunch or dinner sometimes because I really, really liked it. And then I decided to I tried that one quite a few times, and it just tastes very mediocre. Not good, not bad. I can't finish one of them. That portion is too large, but I would just put the rest in a Tupperware and have it later for lunch or have it the next day. But I decided to try some other flavors of some of those same breakfast bowls, ones that just have like peppers in them, or that have mushrooms as well, and just some other flavors. And that's too overwhelming. Like those flavors are so strong that they make me nauseous. So I have noticed that there's a few things that I have tried to eat where the amount of flavor is overwhelming. So it's either it's bland and it doesn't taste like much, or it's way too much flavor and very overwhelming and makes me nauseous. So I definitely look forward to the time where I'm not having such dramatic reactions to things that I'm very used to eating. But the safe breakfasts for me right now, the things that work really well, are just simply eggs, or overnight oats have been really well. Smoothies or things like that are still doing really well. Those taste the same. I can process those well. My stomach does really well with those. I can have a large smoothie. I just have to take time to drink it. So that's been really helpful, that like there has been no negative reactions to smoothies, which I'm very, very grateful for. I do still have a hard time with getting in my protein. Like I'm doing my best to get in just my protein, the regular way, food with protein in it. But since I did prefer to have a plant-based diet previously, it's really hard for me not to just eat the way I used to eat. Like, I'm someone who would love to just like roast, bake, or saute some vegetables, but like that's just not the way I can eat. You can eat now, because I shouldn't be eating anything that doesn't have a high protein content. I'm not overly thinking about it. I'm not pushing it too hard, but I won't just have like some roasted vegetables without having some protein. So I'm doing a lot of adding, you know, either adding meat to something like that, which I don't necessarily like, but it's just necessary right now, or adding tofu, or adding beans to something like that, trying to get that protein in. Obviously, adding cheese, my favorite thing in the world, cheese, adding cheese to that as well. So trying really hard to get that protein in has still been a struggle. I'm able to add protein, like flavorless protein powder, to certain meals that I cook that have like some kind of sauce or something in it that would allow you to add a protein powder. And I also am able to add the flavorless protein powder to my smoothies, which is helpful. But I have not been able to do like regular protein shakes pre-made, or just making protein shakes. For some reason, my stomach still can't handle that. I try every few weeks to have like one protein shake or try one protein bar, but at this point right now, my stomach still just cannot handle that type of protein yet. And once I can, that will make life a lot easier, just to be able to start the day with a protein shake that's going to give me like 30 grams or more of protein. Will be a relief to get that in like first thing in the morning. But right now, that's just not something that I'm able to do. But you know, I'll be patient. It's only been 3 months. I will eventually get there. But otherwise, it's been good, steady weight loss. You know, as long as you're not jumping on the scale too often, I feel great with the weight loss so far. There's, you know, I might go a couple days where I don't lose any weight. I haven't had any moments of gaining, thank goodness, but I have had times where the scale doesn't move, and then all of a sudden it jumps dramatically. So it's just one of those things where I try not to get too focused on it, as long as I'm still losing somewhat consistently. But I think, you know, like I said, being just about at the 50-pound mark for 3 months is me doing pretty good. I will be honest, and I'm going to make another video about this a little bit more in the future. I have been having a little bit of adverse health issues. I don't know how much of it has to do with the rapid weight loss or just the weight loss in general that's making other things more apparent, but there have been some abnormalities with my liver and gallbladder blood work and imaging. So I have been referred to see a GI specialist, and I'm probably going to end up doing a HIDA scan to see exactly what's going on. I am praying and hoping that I don't need to get a surgery anytime soon to deal with the gallbladder. I know that that's very common after this surgery. Rapid weight loss can cause gallstones and all kinds of issues with your gallbladder. I am on a medication that my bariatric center prescribed, that I started taking 2 weeks after the surgery, and that I'm supposed to continue to take until I'm no longer losing more than 10 pounds a month. So once I start consistently only losing like 8 pounds or less per month, then I'm supposed to be able to stop this medication. But the medication is supposed to try to help avoid these gallbladder issues, but it looks like maybe that didn't work for me, and I seem to be having some gallbladder issues anyway. So as I learn a little bit more about what's going on, I'll definitely share like what they think the cause of that is. Now, to be honest, I think I probably was already having a little bit of gallbladder issues before the surgery, just nothing serious enough to truly focus on. But back in 2018, when I was having some more serious health issues, I was seeing a GI specialist, and back then they wanted to do a HIDA scan because I was having some signs of maybe my gallbladder not functioning correctly, but I wasn't having pain, and it wasn't that big of a deal, and we just never got around to doing it. So this might have been kind of like a long time coming, and that the rapid weight loss has kind of sent this over the edge. But yeah, otherwise everything is going really good. I am getting out and moving so much more. The weight loss has been so helpful on my joints. It has made me able to take longer walks. I've been able to participate in different activities, and I went to my first event where I was able to really help out and move around more and carry things, and trying to be careful and not hurt myself, but also be a lot more active. Helped a friend move recently, just a lot of things that I wasn't able to do before. I've said before, I still have fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis, but the weight was making all of that a lot worse, and it was making my symptoms a lot worse. So now my symptoms are a lot more manageable, and it's a lot easier just to move and get around as well. The downside of the fast weight loss has been that nothing fits anymore, like undergarments, pants, clothes, dresses. I am about to end up buying a sewing machine so that I can try to alter some of my clothes now, because I don't want to buy anything new, because the weight loss will only continue and I'm not going to fit anything I buy new. So anything that's in good enough shape, I'm trying to just kind of like I work from home, so most of the time I'm just in a t-shirt and sweatpants. But I can't even fit my sweatpants anymore. Like t-shirt is a t-shirt, but like sweatpants, like even at the point now where my bras aren't fitting anymore. So I'm just gonna try to get a sewing machine, and like I've been hand sewing so far, but kind of taking in the waste of my sweats. If I do buy any new ones, I'm gonna make sure they're drawstring so that they're somewhat adjustable. But majority of my clothes at a 50-pound weight loss pretty much that's a lot. Most of them don't fit anymore, but it is not something that I am like complaining about at all. This is a wonderful problem to have, but I also don't want, like I said, don't want to really be buying any new clothes or anything like that. And luckily, because I can just wear sweats and things like that since I work from home, it's not a big deal if my clothes don't fit well. I can make it work, I can take it in, but I do have some clothes that I really, really treasure that I don't want to have to get rid of anytime soon. So I have some sewing experience. I did used to have a sewing machine, so I'm just gonna try to reteach myself how to alter my own clothes and take them in so I can continue wearing majority of my clothes. All right, so hopefully this was a good update. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I'm going to make another video right away where I talk a little bit more about some of the things that I have found very helpful that I've purchased for this journey, from scales to different things that help you eat with a little bit more mindfulness, to actual certain foods that are helping me replace some of the more healthy things. So thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you guys again soon. All right, bye.